welcome to today's episode, and I'm going to be discussing the 3 root causes of all subconscious energetic blocks. So if you watched my first video or listened to it, I went into how you can go and clear your subconscious blocks, the benefits of it, what causes them, all of that. It's a very long, in-depth video. But I wanted to provide some clarity on the 3 root causes that pretty much create every subconscious block, what it all boils back to, so that you can identify and clear these blocks easier from the root cause. So, I know this is a podcast designed for listening, but I did create a presentation here to add some more visual interest for people watching. So the first root cause I want to talk about is the lack of self-love. And this typically stems from the childhood trauma of constant criticism. And common ways this shows up, and not saying that you have to have all of these, but, you could have some of these, and these are not a full exhaustive list of every way that this could show up. These are just the most common. So first is anxiety about appearances, masking your true self, sort of doing yourself up in a way that you think will make people like you better, even if it's not authentically you. Next is fear of failure. Obviously, if you grew up with a lot of criticism, you have a big fear of failure and being more criticized, which can lead to perfectionism and always having to prove yourself. And of course, this is the biggest root cause pertaining to mommy and daddy issues. Now, all root causes can be caused by parental issues, but this is typically the biggest one, because lack of self-love typically, again, stems from not feeling loved as a child by your parents. And so another big one, judging others and judging yourself. So if you are always criticized, you start to become your own critic and judge yourself, and then that leaks onto judging others for things you were criticized for, or things you believe are wrong. Next would be addictions or addictive behaviors to reward yourself as a way of trying to comfort yourself or create a sense of love for yourself. But that doesn't mean these are healthy behaviors or healthy rewards. Next would be impulse control problems. Again, that kind of can go back to addictive behaviors. You could be very impulsive and you feel like you just need to go buy that little treat, or you need to go gambling or something, whatever, because you need to get a dopamine rush to sort of satiate that void that you feel inside. Next would be arrogance or false confidence mask. So very fake it till you make it. These people can come off as overly confident to overcompensate for really being insecure inside. And then lastly, obviously, fear of being alone and attention seeking. So you could be someone that struggles to stay single or doesn't know what to do with yourself when you're alone. You always need to find friends or relationships or some type of attention, even if it's online attention, to validate you, or, again, fill that empty void you feel when you sit alone with yourself. So how can we fix lack of self-love? Well, you need to create your own self-love if you truly want to attract love. Others cannot fill your cup for you. And so to come back into self-love and honoring yourself, you need to live authentically. Honor your body, honor your needs, your emotions, your nervous system, everything. So only dress the way that you truly want to look, regardless of what anyone thinks about it. Only participate in what you're truly interested in, what truly brings you joy, regardless of what anyone thinks about it. Honor your truth, even if you're the only one who believes what you believe in your social circle. You need to honor your truth regardless of what anyone thinks about it. So you need to disregard others' opinions when you are honoring your own authenticity, your own truth. Career-wise, only work a job you truly believe in and want to be working. So that is how you come back into self-love, because every time you choose to do something you don't really want to be doing, that is hating yourself. Honestly, that is not loving yourself. If you choose to do something that, makes you feel drained or not good inside, that's not loving yourself. That's not honoring yourself. So only live in a way that creates love for yourself and authenticity. And so the next most common root cause is lack of self-worth. And this is a little bit similar to lack of self-love, but there are differences. So lack of self-worth typically stems from abandonment and abuse, whether it was just emotional or verbal, but it could be more extreme, like physical or sexual abuse as a child. And common ways this shows up is hypersexuality, to feel worthy to people, or repressed hyposexuality. You don't feel worthy of intimacy. It could go either way. Weak boundaries, where you can't say no easily because you don't want people to see you as undesirable, basically, or you don't want to lose someone, especially if you have abandonment issues. So you tend to people please to keep people around. And again, abandonment issues, whether a parent abandoned you physically, or even if they were present but just emotionally absent, they didn't really know how to connect with you or how to comfort you or how to properly take care of you or teach you how to deal with your emotions. And lack of self-worth can turn into narcissism or attracting narcissist. So especially if you grew up with a narcissistic abuse, you could turn into a narcissist yourself or attract more narcissists because that's what you were used to seeing as you grew up. And again, with weak boundaries and people-pleasing, it can be very hard to avoid narcissists in their manipulation. Or as the narcissist, you could manipulate people to validate you so you can feel worthy. And, codependency, desire to always feel needed. And this can happen in so many ways, whether it's codependent relationships or like helicopter parents who just cannot give their child any form of independence because they need to feel needed. And it's like you'll see grown men and women whose parent tries to be the main feature of their life and do everything for them. That stems from the parent having a lack of self-worth and needing to feel needed to an excessive extent. Constant fear of things going wrong, with the belief that good things never happen to you or good things will never last for you, which can lead to self-sabotage, to where even though people who have a lack of self-worth just want to feel worthy so bad, it's almost like you are afraid that if someone stays or if someone treats you right, it's not going to last. And so you self-sabotage the situation and you end things, or you run away from it because you want to end it before they end it and hurt you, basically, because you believe that they are going to end things with you, and you'll create a narrative in your head before it even happens, or even if there's no signs of it even happening. You know, these are people who can be a little delusional and pessimistic, thinking that, again, something's always going to go wrong, even if everything is like literally perfect, right? Again, this can also lead to putting yourself in dangerous situations because you just don't care about yourself. If you don't feel worthy, you don't feel like you deserve, good things, and you could self-harm or just put yourself in careless relationships with abusive people, or careless jobs, careless situations where you could get hurt because you just don't care about yourself, really. And a big thing is resistance to receiving help and abundance. So when people offer you help, you always say no, even if you could really use the help, or deep down you really want the help. And same with abundance, you struggle to receive gifts or money or any good opportunity. It's almost like you don't feel worthy of it, basically, right? And so in my first video, I used an example of a subconscious block of abandonment wounds. If you always believe someone's going to abandon you, well, people will keep abandoning you because you attract the frequency that you are putting out. But that subconscious block, the root cause, is lack of self-worth. So how do we fix self-worth? Well, first step is to create strong boundaries. Start saying no to people when you really want to say no. And if they have a problem with it, too bad, You have to honor your boundaries if you want to foster self-worth. Similar to self-love, you need to honor yourself and love yourself. You need to know your standards, figure out your standards. How do you want to be treated? And create boundaries for that. Rewire your mindset with affirmations that you are worthy of the abundance you want. You are worthy of the type of relationship you want. You are worthy of the type of career you want. And when you do these things, you will start to attract better situations. People who don't honor you will fall away. You'll attract better relationships, people who respect your boundaries. You'll stop dishonoring yourself by working a career you hate that makes you feel drained every day, because you're like, I am not worth this. I'm not worth feeling drained. I'm not worth the disrespect. I am worth more. I am worth happiness. That is how you can fix your lack of self-worth. And so the next major root cause is lack of security. And this tends to come from either a lack of inner safety, very dysregulated nervous system, or a lack of personal identity. So if you were someone whose parents tried to force an identity on you growing up, tried to curate your interests, pick your friends for you, tell you what career to go into, that type of thing, that can lead to feeling like your identity or your authenticity is not safe or not allowed. And so common ways this shows up is, a phobia, and I mean extreme fear, like of change or the unknown. if you don't feel safe inside, any little surprise can just throw your nervous system off. And these are people who tend to have like an irrational fear of aging, or an irrational fear of losing their status with work or a social group, whatever. And never, like, feeling like you never have enough. So these people feel like they never have enough money, they never have enough time, they never have enough status, and they always want more, 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 more. Even if to everyone else it's like, you need to calm down. It's like, think of billionaires who have more money than they could ever spend, but they feel the need to keep hoarding more and more and more money, and that's because they don't feel safe inside, and they think more and more and more money is going to make them feel safe. But it's like, they keep going and going, and there's still that void, it's not actually getting filled, right? And so this can lead to greed, hoarding, materialism, and it's not just about being wealthy. If you grew up poor, a lot of people who grew up in lack tend to become hoarders when they have the money to buy things or given things, because they are afraid to throw the thing away or, get rid of it, even if they don't even care about the thing or use it anymore, because they're worried if they get rid of it, well, they'll be in lack. But that mindset actually keeps you in more lack, because you're afraid of, lacking, that you will keep attracting lack, right? And so selfishness, entitlement, exploiting others, that's another thing. Especially if your parents tried to curate a lifestyle for you, you could have grown up with the sense of, everything is about creating the best life for yourself in a certain way, like a certain image, certain, status, whatever. So you could become selfish and do anything it takes to maintain that lifestyle or maintain that image or whatever. And again, parents forcing an identity, which makes your personal authenticity feel unsafe or jarring, which can lead to obsessively following trends or the crowd to fit in. This can lead to a superiority complex and fear of being inferior, fear of being cast out, fear of being the other, the different person, jealousy and envy. If you don't feel safe with yourself and what you have, you will be jealous of others. And you can actually erase that mindset, because if you feel safe with yourself, instead of going, wow, I really wish I had what this other person had, and it's not fair that they have it because I don't. Instead, replace it with, this person has this thing, and you know what? What's stopping me from having it too? I can curate this abundance for myself. We can all have abundance. We can all have nice things, right? So there's no reason to be jealous of others. And pleasure seeking, vice addictions, this is another thing to kind of overcompensate for not feeling secure and safe with yourself. So this can lead to like gambling, trying to comfort yourself with money, pornography and stuff like that, trying to comfort yourself with physical pleasure. And none of these are going to fill the void if your nervous system is dysregulated. Again, these are just like temporary dopamine hits that leave you feeling more drained in the long run. Relationships are for status and image, to curate some sense of safety, to, fit in. Control issues, you having to have your own way, and these people can be seen as egotistical and shallow, but really they just have a super dysregulated nervous system, which goes back to the fear of change and unknown. So, you always need to feel like you need to control everything happening in your life. You need to control your schedule. You need to control the people around you so they can't interfere with your schedule or what you want to happen. You know, it's like very micromanaging everyone and everything around you. And so to really fix this, you just need to work on nervous system regulation. So I really hope that this video provides some more clarity on the 3 root causes that cause all other subconscious blocks, with some examples and, you know, some tips on how you can clear this out. So thank you for watching or listening, and if this helped, please give it a thumbs up and comment or subscribe to boost the algorithm so I can continue making these videos to support people and hopefully get it out there for more people to get the support they need. And with that being said, I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.